John on the chart.
No one says John from where I'm from, bro. No one says that shit.
My bad.
No one I went to school with ever said, yo, that John to me. No, I'm not South Jersey. As much as anyone from your concrete jungle known as North Jersey thinks that everything south of Newark is South Jersey.
It is. It's the stickety sticks. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be back here with you guys. It's been a while. It's another day a beautiful day to discuss other people's excellence. I'm the unforgettable one himself, Mr. Brett Carroll. Charles is always daydreaming, and we're two guys that get paid by Prokhorov for Nets propaganda. He hasn't been paying as much because it's been a long time since we've done this. We literally have not done this since Kyrie came like full time. I think the last time we did this was the James Harden trade. So it's been that long.
Yeah.
So we're back. And it's the playoffs. Playoffs, baby. Playoffs.
The Brooklyn Nets had to play in the play-in, and I'm not going to say play a million times. And it's kind of crazy to think about that, but without context, people would just consider the season a failure. I think me and you putting everything into consideration, Kyrie not getting the shot and not playing as much, but still playing on the road at certain points, the whole trade that we already talked about, that we're the 7th seed. It is what it is, and hopefully we become the greatest 7th seed of all time and win the title. But it's crazy because once again we have to go through Boston, and apparently no one watched the playoffs last year, at least the first round, because everyone's acting like this is the first time Kyrie's playing in Boston again, and like, oh my God, he has to beat them. We 4-1 2021 happened already. Like, I don't know what narrative we got to keep doing every time he goes to Boston, but I feel like Boston needs to win just as much as the Nets need to win. The Nets are going to have the pressure because of Kyrie and KD, but the Celtics have equal pressure because they've been building this for over 5 years, and they have one Eastern Conference, appearance a couple years back to show for it. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the homegrowns, great talents. I'm not shitting on them at all. Have to prove themselves just as much as the Nets don't want to be one and done, let alone the 7th seed. So it's interesting. I'm excited.
I think the pressure on Kai is more like because the Nets are a 7th seed largely because you haven't been able to play full time for most of the year.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what it's not about beating Boston. It's about, okay, you chose to not get vaccinated, and that's your choice, and that's great. But now that you're full time, now that you're back, a hole has been dug, and whether it's fair to put that all on you or not is, whatever. But a hole has been dug. You have to at least make sure that you're not the reason why the Nets couldn't get out of it, right? That's where the pressure on him is, and I think he'll step up. He always steps up in the playoffs. He always steps up against Boston. However, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm nervous about this series. You know how I am about defense. We do not play any defense. And to be honest with you, this year, even worse than last year, I don't even think we have an offensive identity. That's what scares me more than anything else.
I don't know about that, man.
No. Seriously. We run no plays. Every time down the floor, it's KD or Kyrie ISO. And the formula has been one of y'all has to get 35 plus. The other one has to get 25 plus. And you got to be both efficient in doing so. And you got to still get your teammates involved.
Yeah, but Seth Curry's been injured, and he was the 3rd scorer since the trade. Brown stepped up. I feel like that's just misleading because when everyone's been healthy, sans Joey Buckets. I wish we had Joey Buckets just to for the depth right now. But when we're healthy, the ball is going. Yes, it's ISO. Of course, it's ISO. Look the 2 players you have in ISO and the perimeter players that you have with them. Like the faster we play, the better in transition we are. And
so, all right, I'll put it to you this way: we won 5 straight, and I still don't feel any more confident in our ability to win than before because we had lost like 2 or 3 straight before the 5-game winning streak. But the 5-game winning streak, who did we beat? We beat Houston, in which we had a big lead and blew it. We beat the Knicks, in which we were down big and came back. We beat Cleveland twice. In both games, we had a big lead and blew it. We beat the Pacers, in which we had a big lead and blew it. So my thing is, if we played 5 good teams, there's a really good chance that we could have been on a 5-game losing streak and been out of the playoffs by now.
Yeah, but that's the same shit as saying if Kai played more, we would be the 2nd seed. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, which is true, but the point I'm making is our recipe for winning is not a good recipe.
Yeah, but a couple,
and we're barely, and when I say barely, yes, 4 to 5 wins were by 10 plus points. I get that, but to me, we're barely beating bad teams with that formula. Now you play a team like Boston, who's the best defensive team in the league. I understand
but every team was playing us those last 5 games. No one was like, "Oh well, our season's over." Every single one of them was trying to play spoilers for the Nets too.
Oh, so you think the playoffs are going to lay down? No,
but that's my point. That was what you wanted. You wanted us to win all those games. You wanted when other teams were like, "We're trying to end your season," the team wins. I don't care if it's by 1 point or 100 points. If you win the game, you win the game. At a 5-game winning streak, when you have to, the Kai just came back full time. The fact that he had this little tired stretch during the last few games, which we won, good. Now we're going into the playoffs, and he already got. We saw that initial run of just ridiculous efficiency. Like complete ridiculous efficiency. We didn't really get a chance to praise him on here, but there was a couple games where he, stupid. He's putting up 2K numbers, and he's played so well despite these couple of the stretches that you just don't like, that we didn't murder them. That he's played so well that people are saying if he played the full season, he might be the MVP. That he might be one of the most talented players in the league. So the only way we're going to lose to the Celtics in the first round is getting out coached. And but I don't really consider. I don't think we're going to get out coached. I'm sorry.
You don't?
No.
What? Wait. You don't think Ime Udoka, who by the way on our staff, who should be a coach of the year candidate, is going to outcoach Steve Nash, who's the worst coach he's worse than Kenny Atkinson. I don't care. And you know how much I have killed Kenny Atkinson. Steve Nash is worse than Kenny Atkinson. You don't think we're going to get that's why I'm nervous. We don't play any defense. They're a better defensive team. We're a better offensive team, but by how much, I don't know. And we're definitely going to get
We're a better offensive team than they are a defensive team. And it's not like they're just offensive juggernauts. Like, we do have a good team.
Okay.
If we get out coached, we get out coached. I realize that's the only way we lose, but I'm not putting that much onus on it because we have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving out on the court.
You see, but that's the thing. But that's my point. Our formula for winning is them being spectacular every single night, and there's zero margin for error. Zero. And that's what scares me. And when we don't play defense, you're literally asking these guys, again, before the 5-game stretch, when we're playing better teams, you literally were having these guys back and forth scoring 50 plus points, and we still were losing half of those games.
Yeah, but I understand what you mean, but your concern last year was that we didn't play defense, and we
started playing defense this year. Without Ben Simmons, we are a worse defensive team than we were last year. And wait.
I don't think we can say without Ben Simmons we're anything. Ben Simmons is a non-factor until he's a factor.
But that's my point.
He hasn't played since the playoffs, so he's a non-factor in this discussion.
That's the point I'm making. If Ben Simmons isn't playing, I don't know how far. I'm not saying we're going to lose to Boston.
Oh, come on, man. What do you mean if Ben Simmons isn't playing? He hasn't been playing. He hasn't played all year.
I understand that we need him.
We don't know what he is. No, you're just assuming he's going to come in and be good and not a liability in the playoffs against the Boston Celtics.
Okay, that's fine. What I'm saying is his defense is desperately needed. His playmaking is desperately needed. We don't really have a point guard outside of Kai. When Dragic is out, our playmaking abilities are really bad.
And what makes you think he's going to have playmaking abilities after sitting out a year and the first thing he's doing is playoff basketball against Boston?
What I'm saying is if he could just give us defense alone, I'll take that. Wow. Defense alone, I'll take that. Even if it's as simple as, you see Jason Tatum, we can't afford him to get 50 tonight. Please hold him to 40. If you hold him to 40,
so Ben Simmons comes back after a year of being out for mental reasons and all these insecurity reasons, and he's going to go up against Jason Tatum in the playoffs as his first assignment.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Again,
just clarifying.
I didn't say shut him down. I didn't say shut him down. When we lose to Boston, it's because Jason Tatum's getting 50 and we can't stop him. What I'm saying is, hey, Ben, you're only playing for 10, 15 minutes. Instead of Jason Tatum getting 50, please just hold him to 40. If you hold him to 40, we can win. We cannot afford him to get 50 because we're going to lose. That's all I'm saying. That is a reasonable.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that, because if they're doing that to us, what are we doing to them? We're a better offensive team.
No, see again. All right, they play better defense than us. So our guys getting 50 is probably a way less efficient 50 than Jason Tatum. Our guys having to get 50 every single night efficiently when they're actually playing defense and making their jobs harder. And because we don't have a good coach, he's not doing anything to make their jobs easier. Where Kim Udoka will draw stuff up to make Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's life a little bit easier. So they're getting easier shots. They're getting easier looks. They're getting put in positions to succeed, as opposed to us saying, here, Kai, here, KD, go 1-on-3 every time down the floor. And one of y'all has to just overcome it every night. That is almost an impossible thing to ask these two guys to do. And that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been asking them to do all year. And what I'm saying is, Ben Simmons being out there at least gives us a chance to say, yo, Jason Tatum's going to get his 50 or his 40. Instead of him doing it by making every shot imaginable, make his job harder. Even if it's for just 10, 15 minutes, because that 10, 15 minutes might be the difference. Because we're just going to have to outscore people. That's the only way we're winning. That's the only way we're winning. And teams could beat us when you don't play defense. Again, like last year, we were the greatest offense of all time, but we were the worst defense of all time. And it was a problem because even when we were scoring 120 points a game, if you're giving up 123, you still lose. Cool. My thing is we can score 120 points. You got to hold them to 115. You got to hold them to 115. It's just that simple. With Ben Simmons, you might have a chance of doing that. Without Ben Simmons, it's going to be hard because you're literally at their mercy of just missing shots because they're going to get wide open shots. Even against Cleveland, we played really good defense for a couple stretches, but then Darius Garland looked like fucking LeBron out there. And even when they lost, a lot of those were just missed shots by them. It's not like we did anything. So against a better team, you're not going to get away with that. A guy like Jason Tatum, who I think loves that challenge of playing Kyrie and KD, because we forget they're all boys. We forget coming up, Kyrie and KD were the main ones putting that battery in his back, telling him how great he is. So he loves playing the Nets. And what I'm saying is he could average 40 in this series efficiently, and we can lose. Whereas even if KD's averaging 40 or Kai's averaging 40, is not as efficient as we need it to be, and therefore we're getting outscored.
We finished 19th, the 19th defense this year. We were 23rd last year. So we have been playing better defense this year. That's all I'm saying. Like, are they better? Yeah, they have Jaylen Brown again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not overlooking the talent that he is, but I'm not worried. Like, even Stephen A, as much, and all the haters on all the talking head haters, most of them got the Nets winning. One or two, I picked the Celtics. I just don't think we're going to lose to the Celtics in the first round.
Okay, my thing is at some point we gotta respect the opponent too, man. Like yeah, it's easy to say, oh, we have KD and Kyrie. There's no way we can lose. Like, yes,
there's no way we can lose. But I really think the only way they won a game last year was Jason Tatum having a career game. And that was a worse defense. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going that deep. There are better teams.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
is this year.
So, all right, well, this is what I'm saying. Last year, right? The reason why Brad Stevens got fired, because last year they played the same way we play this year. Hey, Jason Tatum, hey, Jaylen Brown, you guys go 1-on-5 and just go off. That's the only way we can win. And that's why they went. Udoka found a way to finally get these guys to like, yo, let's put you guys in better positions to make your jobs easier. And you guys can't just be scorers. I need you guys to be playmakers as well. Because if you get your teammates involved, once again, your job is easier. So what I'm saying is, this is a better Boston team than what we faced last year. And defensively, I don't care what the numbers say, we are a worse defensive team than last year. I watch every game. We cannot stop a runny nose. We're terrible. Now, granted, it's the playoffs. They're going to lock in better. Granted, the games are spread out, especially the first 4 games. So it's easier to like really lock in defensively. And if they do that, yes, we can win. I'm not saying we're going to lose. What I'm saying is people are acting like, oh, don't worry, we got this. I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
But that's the playoffs too. I like the East isn't the East 10 years ago. I think anybody that still acts like it is hasn't been paying attention to the sport the last 2-3 years. The East has been better. The East has been deep. I mean, the East play-ins look like a more dangerous squad than what you're seeing out West in some cases, obviously. But I don't know, man. Like, I just feel confident against the Celtics, especially because for whatever reason, they make Kyrie the focus. And not to beat a dead horse, but that is Kevin Durant. Like, if he's healthy, yeah, we can win this series. And everyone always goes to the OKC. They lost down 3-1. Yeah, man, people lose games. We lost a game 7 last year to the champs. Shit's tough. It's the playoffs. You could lose in any round. I'm very much aware of that. I'm just not going to get on here after what I've seen, what I feel. Like, can we lose in 7 to the Celtics? Of course. They're our rivals. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's weird because I feel like you're stating a lot of obvious facts too. Like, yes, that's how I would coach to beat us right now. You know what I mean? Like, yes, that's how it's going to work. It goes up to the 2. It's a tag team match. To put in wrestling terms for you, I'm trying to give the respect to the Celtics because it's Brown and Tatum, Katie and Durant. Katie and Kyrie. Like, that's what the matchup is, and that's cool. Like that. This is an all-time era type of matchup again, and I'm here for it. I am not saying it's a short thing. I'm saying I feel like the Nets fan I am, we got this. But also, I get where you're coming from. There's a shit ton of bandwagon Nets fans out there that haven't earned this feeling I have and this confidence I have.
I'm never going to kill people for having. I'm just being real. You know how I am. I try to think of things realistically. Realistically, again,
except for the Buck series last year, you had all the confidence in the world in the Buck series last year. You decided.
Well, I mean, and I was right. If again,
I know, but I'm saying out of all the times, the last 2-3 years where you were like, my confidence.
Despite the injuries, if Kevin Durant has a size 14 and not a size 17, we're in the conference finals. And that was despite the injuries. But what I'm saying is, like I said, what scares me about this team as opposed to last year's team is not only do we not play defense, but again, offensively, I hate the way we play offense. Last year, we at least ran shit. And a lot of people associate that with D'Antoni. D'Antoni left, and it's almost like Steve Nash has no idea what to do. So it's just like,
I feel that we're running a boot. Tell me if I'm wrong, because you've watched more games than I have this year, because Hulu and yes, and then I have to watch it on my phone and SmartCast it. It's a whole thing sometimes. But so you've seen them more. To me, it feels like they run a bootleg version of the Warriors offense from a couple of years ago. Like they do this free-flowing BS until it's not working, and then they go ISO.
I don't even think they do that, bro. I think it's literally just backyard pickup basketball. I'm telling you, it's literally just, hey, y'all just do you. And by the way, that could be the players. You know how some players are. It's like, yo, just give me the ball. We'll figure it out. But my thing is, like, again, that's not in the playoffs. I can't see that getting us.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. but we've said this for every superstar team that's ever existed and won. Like, oh, you're really just going to rely on these stars like this? Yeah, they do.
No. Cleveland ran plays. The Nets last year ran plays. I'm telling you, I'm watching. I've been to the last 5 games. Like, they're all at home. I went to the game.
Ugh.
These aren't even plays. These are literally these guys just going 1-on-3. And it's like, dude, that is that's not basketball. Like, yeah, I get it. It's the playoffs and then crunch time situations. That's what you want. But that's crunch time situation. You're not supposed to do that for the whole fucking game. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna do that all game, every game for a 7-game series, you will lose.
I don't know if that's the plan.
Especially if you don't play defense. Especially if you don't play defense.
But I don't know if that's the plan. A lot of the last 10 games, what was at least, perception of me, Kyrie getting his feet under him, like letting him go out there and ball and see, like he's finally full time. We need the games, and they're playing like they need to play.
You could be right about that. Again, it's the playoffs. It's a different mentality. Like I tell people all the time, people don't realize they get a binder this big.
Yeah, but they got vets on the squad. We don't have, like, if this was the Nets from 4 years ago, I'd be with you. But there's a lot of veterans with some postseason experience on this Nets roster that aren't named Kevin or Kyrie.
I get that. I gotta see game one. I gotta see how they play.
Yeah, and that's the beauty.
All I know is if we play the way we've been playing it for the last month, I don't see us winning, because that's just not a recipe for success. You cannot sit there and say, yo, one of y'all got to score 50. The other one's got to score 30. Both of y'all got to be efficient. Oh, and by the way, if you can still sprinkle in 15 to 20 assists between the two of you, we'll win. That it's like, okay, cool. So you're gonna do that on offense, but we're definitely gonna play defense, right? Oh no, we're not playing defense. We're just gonna outscore people by y'all being the best players ever. And it's like, dude, that's not even realistic.
No, it's not realistic. So if it happens, just being serious, it's not realistic. Let me just say one more time. It's not realistic. But if that were to happen, that'd be awesome. I'm just saying
okay, and what I'm saying is, and it might work because if Robert Woods doesn't play, maybe it's easier for them to win. I'll put, if we get out of 2 rounds, if we make it to the conference final with these 2 idiots playing like that, they're the GOATs. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, they're the GOAT. Because that is insane. That is an insane way to play football. That's literally football. In baseball, Aaron Judge, you have to hit a home run every time you go up to bat. We have no pitching, we have no defense. What we're gonna do
I'm just saying, you can give Patty Mills and LaMarcus Aldridge a little bit more playoff credit than what you're giving them right now. I'm not saying they're old what they used to be, but
but I'm saying our offense the last month has been here, you guys. You guys be absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah, but I understand. And I'm wary of role players not being efficient come this time of year. Trust me.
Especially on the road where we don't have home court advantage, by the way.
Oh, you in that home court advantage.
Well, no, role players play better at home. That's just a fact. Although, ironically, we have a better road record than home record this year, but that's because Kyrie hasn't played at home games all year. So to me, that's stupid.
This year was such a weird year, especially when I think me and you did less Nets propagandas just because the narrative around the team, where me and you aren't going to talk about how Kai's not playing every week, and the Nets are the Nets. Like Kevin Durant's balled out all year. The youth has looked good. Cam Thomas and Kessler,
I'll say this. Joel Embiid should win MVP. I don't know how everybody's talking about he's not MVP. He's MVP. However, to me, this proved that Kevin Durant's the MVP. We were the number 1 seed with him, and he was having his best, statistically, he was having his best year since his MVP year. He goes out. We can't even win a game without him. And then he comes back balling and gets us to the 7th seed. To me, that's an MVP. Now, obviously, he did not play enough games to qualify. But to me, if you're asking me what an MVP is.
And it's one of his best years when it comes to assists. That's why it gets me when people call him just a scorer. I was like, yo, this dude can pass, and he's getting off 6 assists per game. Like somebody calls that average. And I'm like, yo, if one of your forwards is averaging 6 assists, chances are he's starting for you, period. Like you could average 6 points and 6 assists and make an NBA roster consistently.
And by the way we play, you only play like that if you have a Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? This doesn't work with any other duo.
No shit. But goddamn, man, it's not.
For instance, as much as I love Mark Jackson, and we always say give him more credit for the Warriors. That's the reason why the Warriors were a first round exit, maybe a second round exit with Mark Jackson, as opposed to a juggernaut with Steve Kerr. Because that's what Mark Jackson did. He's like, yo, I have two superstars. Here, take the ball, go ISO every time. And mind you, they played defense, but their offense was Steph Curry and Klay Thompson just going ISO every time. It's like, bro, that you can't win like that.
So if the Nets don't win a chip, who do you want? Beginning of the playoffs, end of the season, you know what I mean? This is as objective as you're going to get, because it's not like Steve Nash has been a bad head coach as far as his record is concerned. As in Brooklyn Nets career, his tenure has been good. Like, he's far from the worst Nets coach we've even talked about on this podcast. You know, so
Steve Nash?
Yeah, I don't think he's the worst. I think what's his name? The angry old man. Lionel Hollins. I think he's the worst head coach we ever had. Sorry.
To be fair, I think if Lionel Hollins had this roster, you know what I mean? Like,
okay. Lionel Hollins would be the 7th seed too, but we'd be better at defense. Congratulations.
Me and you, but we wouldn't be the 7th seed. I guarantee you. Like, if we were better,
we wouldn't have the roster either, because no one wants to go play for his old grumpy ass. But anyway,
me and you could coach.
Who would you want to replace Steve Nash?
Pop.
Who would you want to replace Steve Nash?
Pop.
Oh, Pop?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like the GOAT too, please. But I mean, like, maybe somebody more realistic than the guy probably going to retire.
That's not realistic. We're basically Spurs East. And you're telling me Pop would want.
I don't think he's leaving San Antonio.
I mean, if you're right, but I think this would be the one team he would leave them for. Like, I think that's a realistic get. I like Mark Jackson, but again, my problem with Mark Jackson is the same offensive philosophy. Here, Kyrie, here, KD, y'all just do what you do. It's like, no, bro, we need more structure than that offensively, especially if we're not going to play defense. Now, Mark Jackson, I think, would have us play better defense, so maybe that balances out. But
I say we get Phil Jackson in here and have him coach the Nets.
Oh God,
we run the triangle and win the ring just so we can go.
Oh God, no. I mean, Phil Handy. I got to shout out my boy Phil Handy. He's assistant for the Lakers.
Bro, I'm just saying we could totally win running the triangle. That's all I'm saying.
If we're gonna do old and relevant coaches, let's go full New Jersey Nets and bring back Byron Scott at that point. Shit,
you love you some Byron Scott.
I do love me some Byron Scott. But no, see, I really think Pop is a realistic answer if he's ready to transition, because it sounds like he's not ready to retire yet. But at the same time, it's like, dude, there's no way you still want to coach that team. That team's garbage.
If we can get Pop. Would you be willing to, like, if he's willing, obviously, to give Steve Nash a reduced role and keep him in the organization? Because it's weird, because everything you've said I agree with, but I like Steve Nash. There's just something I feel like he's good to have around.
I like Steve Nash. Look, my issue with Steve Nash is my same issue with Kenny Atkinson. They're just not ready to coach at this level yet. So yeah, keep Steve Nash, develop him. I would love for a Pop to come in and really teach Steve Nash how to be a head coach. And then whenever Pop retires, Steve Nash is elevated back to the head coaching position. I was in favor of keeping Kenny Atkinson in some type of role.
Yeah, right? No, me and you wanted him to be the leader of youth development or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I will say his praises as a player development guy.
Player development, there it is.
Forever, but he just wasn't a good coach because he was too reliant on the system and we couldn't take mid-range shots, and it was just stupid. Especially at the time, we didn't even have a good 3-point shooting team, but you're forcing us to take all these threes. But I think Kenny Atkinson should be a head coach again somewhere. That's how you get better by being a coach. So I'm not saying kick Steve Nash to the curb. Yeah, I would love for Steve Nash to stay on and learn. I just don't. I don't think this was even fair to him to come into this situation. I really don't.
Well, he's obviously the coach that KD wanted.
Right. And all, I'm not blaming him for taking the job. If somebody would offer me the job,
you take the job.
It'd be hard for me to say no. Now I might, because I'm like, are you sure?
You wouldn't say, are you sure? You'd be like, are you serious?
The only thing I've ever done is coach church league, and yeah, we won, but damn, are you sure? But I would still, and then when they show me the money, I'm like, oh shit, I'll get fired, and this money's guaranteed anyway. Yeah, I'll sign on to be the worst coach in NBA history. Cool, you know what I mean? But so I'm not blaming.
I have won my fantasy football league once.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not blaming Steve Nash for taking the job. I just, for the life of me, don't understand how the Nets didn't take that more seriously. That's my thing. It's like, bro, if you know, like, yo, this team is so good that coaching is probably the only thing, to your point, coaching is probably the only thing that can fuck this up along with health, obviously. You got to make sure you get a good coach.
I mean, this is the make or break part for Steve Nash, so we'll see.
And to be honest with you, because of the year we had, even if we get swept by Boston, I don't think he gets fired, though.
It's hard to tell because of the year we had, right? Like you can give him some props for winning some games, like when Cam Thomas just had a career game in the Garden. Like you can give Steve Nash some credit for that game, but likewise, like if he did a great job, there'd be no question about him going forward. But granted, I think if he gets another year, it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe he's still here, because he's done a good job. He hasn't done a job.
I'll put it to you this way. I think the only way he gets fired is if we get swept and or if Pop says, yo, I want to coach the
No,
Nets.
I think if we lose against the Celtics in the first round, he's gone. I really do.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I don't think so. The fans are going to point to him, but I don't think I haven't heard the media point the finger at him once.
Good point.
You know what I mean? So there's not even like outside pressure to get rid of him. The fans don't like him because the fans realize he's in over his head. But again, if that's Katie's boy, and again, we don't know. They might be running the offense that Kyrie and Katie want. But to me, that still proves the fact that you need a better head coach, because you need somebody that can come to him and come to both of them and say, yo, we can't play like this. And that is insane that y'all want to play like this. We can't do that. We can't. We got to run a fucking play. Even the last year, it's not like we were running anything crazy, but just simple like pick and rolls with James Harden was getting guys wide open shots. And it was like, yeah, I'm not saying we got to run some crazy, silly offense, but run something. Run anything. These dudes just dribbling the ball and taking on double and triple teams every time. No, that's
Hold on, but before we sign off here, man, we didn't get a chance to praise it because there was a couple of all-time Nets performances like this season. Kai, what did he do? Like 2 50-point games back to back or something? And that's the first.
Yes, he did actually technically, but also KD had 50 and then Kai had 60. They were the first teammates to have back-to-back games of 50 points.
Yeah, and Kai broke Darren Williams' record down in.
Thank God. So that's fans.
It was Charlotte, right?
Huh?
Was it Charlotte?
Yeah.
How ironic was both those performances were against Charlotte teams? One was the Bobcats, the other was the Hornets.
We are rejuvenated, right? Darren Williams no longer holds the record, so we can officially hate him forever.
I mean,
by the way, I don't hate Darren Williams, but I know y'all do. I know the Nets universe hates Darren Williams, so now
I feel like there's less hate. I feel like it's the opposite. Like now we're gonna hate him less just because he doesn't have the record, right? Like now we can look back and it's not the best time in Brooklyn history or anything like that, but you can look back and go, I guess that game 4 was kind of fun. Goddamn D. Will. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's gonna be, right?
I think everything is rejuvenated. Once again, it was a first game after my birthday. For some reason, he likes having career highs on my birthday. I'll take it.
March and April, he likes balling out.
Yeah, March.
Like 12th. Not that he doesn't ball out whenever he's on the court, especially as a net. There has everybody, even his harshest critics as a Brooklyn Net, I say when he's on the court, he's great, because when he has an off game, no one questions it. That's how little off games he's had as a net, which is why it's so like in the rear view with D. Will. He's the complete opposite.
Just that stat of like he already has like the most 50-point games in Nets history, like by a long shot. And it's like, damn, like what?
The kid from Jersey now holds the record for the Jersey franchise, even though it's in Brooklyn. And people and everyone that's like, oh, they should go back to Jersey. Listen, until the stupid mandate, I did not have any type of, oh yeah, they should do that. Until that stupid mandate, I was like, I mean, the Brooklyn Nets playing in Newark would probably draw a crowd right now. Like,
it probably would. Yeah, the fact that he has that record is crazy, especially since if you think about it, even though he's been here for 3 years, he really has only had like a season's worth of games.
Oh, I know.
Because every year he's missed so many games. which is insane to me.
Our friends who are detractors of Kyrie Irving only bring that up for the most part.
Yeah,
No one talks about the game. Everyone says availability because as far as his on the court game, he's played enough. He played so little this season, and there's people that are like, I don't even like him, but he might be one of the best in the league right now. For saying it's not LeBron, I don't like Giannis enough. So can I throw Kyrie in there? Has now become a narrative because I don't know why people are just against saying Kevin Durant is like. It's just weird to me. He has to be the scorer and Steph has to be the shooter. Like, you could just say they're the best if you guys think they're the best. But so it's crazy to me that with all the hate he gets, I've heard Kai now mentioned with he could be the most talented, even though he hasn't played enough. Like, he would be in the MVP conversation based off how he's played just this season.
I think he's only played 100. Like, I think literally he's at the 100 game mark.
That's crazy, dude.
In 3 years.
That's so fucking crazy.
Because he only played 30 games this year.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, like I think he's at like the 100, maybe not even yet. But I think he's at the 100 game mark, and the fact that he already has like what 6 50+ point games already.
Yo,
like,
Kai, you still owe me like 4 whole seasons, so I'm just saying, resign. You know, come on, bro.
It's insane, and it's like if they win a chip. Is Kyrie the greatest net of all time? Like it's like that's a like. That's
I mean, it's him. Let's be real. Like if we have to be name off the 5, he's in the top 5 with Kevin Durant. It's Jason Kidd. It's Dr. J. The Chronic's right up here. I have the vinyl. My bad. Dr. J. And yeah, like you're there. You go. You got your top 4.
And the only reason why
shout out to Richard Jefferson and Brooke Lopez. I know people are gonna be pissed I didn't say Brooke Lopez. Like.
No, but and literally the only reason why I'm putting Kyle over KD is because he has so many records. KD does too, which is insane. Like even James Harden in his short
most triple doubles in a net season is James Harden, I think.
Like insane. But the point of that is like they have all those records, and to be honest, you do have to give Kyrie credit for bringing them to Brooklyn, right? So if they win a championship, even if KD's the Finals MVP, we know Kyrie's gonna ball out. I think you got to put Kyrie a little bit over KD because he's the reason why they're even there.
I think every New Jersey Nets fan should have Kyrie over KD because Kyrie, at least from my vantage point as a Nets fan my whole life, he's the one that brought New Jersey into Brooklyn. Like he's the one that said, we are also the New Jersey Nets. And they've rocked that navy blue and red pattern, the one we all love.
Listen,
everybody loves it.
I told him and I told you like I almost cried that first day they wore them because that shit was beautiful to me.
Bro, that shit should be our jersey. That should be the jersey.
And I told him like, yo, that's your legacy, bro. Like people forget before we did a whole pod about this. Before Kyrie came there, they had wanted nothing to do with the New Jersey legacy. It was all Brooklyn. We did a whole pod about Bobby Marks was on record saying if they could go back, they would get rid of the Nets name altogether, right?
Crazy.
And now there's so much New Jersey culture there, whether it's Kerry Kittles doing games, whether it's
Richard Jefferson,
whether it's the throwback jerseys, whether it's even who else did games? Kerry Kittles has done games, but there's somebody else they brought back.
I remember Kerry Kittles because Richard Jefferson's done a couple now in the new. We're not disrupting our whole era.
Devin Harris. They brought back.
Oh, he did. I missed those games. I remember you saying it. I was like,
he hasn't been there as much as Kerry Kittles, but he did like 2 or 3 games this year.
Underrated net.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like the fact that they have fully embraced the New Jersey culture, that's because of Kyrie. Like you can't even deny that. You can't even deny that because before Kyrie, it was nothing New Jersey related. The only thing Jersey related was Iron Eagle, and that's because he's been there since the beginning. And I do think they brought back Richard Jefferson before Kyrie, but okay. But that's because Richard Jefferson had just retired, and it made sense to bring him back. He's an all-time net,
and he's great. Let's be real. Richard Jefferson's awesome. He's a national treasure.
He is fantastic. But that's the only thing New Jersey Nets related that they ever really did, besides retiring Jason Kidd's jersey, right? After Kyrie, again, you see the culture shift because they realize, oh, that's right. We were in Jersey.
And Vince Carter. We honored Vince Carter too. I don't remember if that was before Kyrie and KD got here, but I know that was a big New Jersey Nets moment
whenever his last year was, we honored him.
Like we pretty much said if he's as much of a net as he is a Raptor to the NBA. And people
Right.
got real mad at us and the organization for being like, I'm sorry, he played with us too, and he was just as good, if not better, for us.
Yeah, and I
So
think he played just as long, I want to say.
roughly the same.
So,
Considering
but
his whole career, it's roughly the same, you know.
yeah, but it's like at the end of the day, like, but so besides the obvious people that they had to honor, they wanted nothing to do with the New Jersey Nets legacy.
And then
You see the culture shift. You see the culture
Kai
that
came back, and it wasn't until Kai came back where Petrovic merch became a normal thing. They had a Petrovic day before, but like they'd have like a game for him. But since Kai's come back, the 90s Nets look is back. So everything 90s Nets is just
because
there.
again, I think they realized, oh, that's right. We've been here we were in Jersey for 35 years. There's gotta be players, there's gotta be people from the tri-state area that weren't Nets fans. Not everybody's a freaking Knicks fan. And so that was huge. And Kai said, I'm only here because I'm a New Jersey Nets fan. Like he made that very clear.
Jersey,
So
bitch.
like that, so that's the big thing. And like I said, I'm not saying to come back to where we all started. I'm not saying we are going to lose to Boston. I agree that we could and should win the series. I just think it's going to be tough, man. And not only do I think it's going to be tough, I think it's one of those things. Even if we win, we might be really fucked up for Milwaukee. Like I just don't like the way we play back. It's just not that's not basketball, bro.
Nets
Like,
in 6.
I think it's gonna have to go 6. I don't want to be game 7 in Boston. I really don't.
Nets in 6.
If we win, it's gonna go 6.
All right, tell them where they can find you, bro.
They can find me at Never for Brett. That's NEVA_4 BRETT_ME on Instagram and Twitter.
And we are at the_dope blog on IG, at the dope blog, all one word, on Twitter. I'm at Not the Chuck D on all the socials. And Brett's been putting mocks up somewhere else.
On YouTube, you can check them all out. I just did a major dope mock number 5 with trades. I'll be up on Monday. So if you're on the YouTube when you're watching this, please like, share, and subscribe. And join us next time as we continue to discuss other people's excellence.
Go Nets, baby.
Go Nets.